just like pay bills and a house and to live without the worry of money.
Yeah, so let's put, how can I frame this as a question? Are there tiers maybe?
Like happiness versus like comfort and like contentment.
I'm just gonna use tiers to kind of represent that, because that's easy to write. But what you wanna know is like, maybe certain levels of money can buy you happiness, but certain other levels, like, is someone with $14 billion happier than someone who has $1 billion? Is there a point beyond which, it's kind of like water, right? Can water quench your thirst? Yes, up to a point. But once I've already had enough water, I don't need more, right? So like, if someone brings me in, oh, I've got 700 gallons more water, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but I'm not thirsty. I don't need more.
So to kind of build on that, like, does your starting point change the answer? Like, if you're poor, will you be more happy with money?
Right. There you go, girl.
So relative to change, because it could work the other way, right? Let's suppose you are born into money and then you suddenly find yourself poor. That might be distressing to you. Whereas someone else who's already poor might be like, yeah, it's just life. Right? But you're not adapted to it.
And thinking about it, what are the psychological effects of that way of thinking? What does it do to your brain to think that money buys happiness or something can buy you happiness?
Yeah, that's gonna be another question. Do you have your hand raised, or?
Oh, no, I was putting in my split answer.
I don't need to put answer.
Can more money just make you more unhappy?
Yeah. Oh, no.
If it does make you more happy, does that mean you have the wrong concept of happiness?
More equals happier. How about that? Any other things, or does someone want to start in on it? We got seven issues so far.
I kind of have one more, like, is it a direct result, or is it like a side effect of having money? So like, of buying things?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to write that.
Yeah. Like, is it a direct effect, or is it an indirect effect?
So
Like a byproduct.
let's just write direct or indirect. That does kind of presume that at least sometimes it can, right?
Yeah.
What if the answer is no? If the answer is no to this question, then this is kind of moot right at that point. Who wants to get us started? Hopefully using one of these eight issues. Yes.
I want to talk about the tiers.
Okay.
So what I think of when it comes to like money and stuff is Maslow's theory of self-actualization.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people can really reach, like, being comfortable with themselves if they really have their very, very basic needs met, which is the bottom of the pyramid.
Yes. So, does everyone know what Maslow's hierarchy is?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just pull it up in case someone is not familiar. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is a theory in psychology, and it's kind of relevant to the issue of what is happiness also, right?
Yes. I would say so.
Oops, I wanted to get that. Okay,
kind of what I think about, like if money can buy happiness. I don't know if it can necessarily buy happiness, but I think it can buy you comfort, which could lead to happiness.
Yeah, so you could buy a lot of the things that are on this list that we think make for a, if not happy person, at least a fulfilled life, right? And at the very bottom, well, can money buy clean air? Sure, you can buy a big old HEPA filter machine, right? You can buy food, water. Can it buy sex? Well, it probably shouldn't, but it does. Can it buy sleep? Sure. Right? Homeostasis, I don't know what that means. I think it's kind of like a, well, I don't know what it means in the context of
Oh, okay.
happiness, but I think that's just like stability, right? And then excretion, that's kind of disgusting.
Right. Excreting what?
Yeah.
I think in this context, it would refer to the balancing of everything else, like all your internal systems are balanced, therefore all your external systems are balanced.
Okay, so you're thinking it's talking even more basic than
Yeah.
just like stability. It's talking about physical,
Physical and mental well-being,
okay.
the stability of those.
And then excretion's pretty obvious. And like, you know, for us, this is pretty obvious, but if you're a homeless person, like, it might be hard to find a place to use a restroom, right? So, physiological needs, it can buy a lot of those. Safety, it seems like it can buy a lot of those too, right? You can build fences and lock doors.
Buy more locks.
Employment, well, maybe you can't buy a job, but you maybe don't need a job if you have enough money, right? Or you can live off of your savings for a while. Resources, sure, it can buy those. Morality, I don't know if it can buy morality. Family, probably can't buy a family. It can contribute to health, right? A lot of people have medical bankruptcies or can't get medical care that they need.
I think money can buy a family.
It can help you take care of your family.
Yeah, it can help you take care of your family.
Because the safety part's the security of the family.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, if you already have a family, you can buy things to keep your family safe, but
If you can't have a family.
what if you don't have a family, like, money just can't buy you, like,
Family is in love and belonging, so it is like the security of the family and safety.
okay.
I think
Can it buy sexual intimacy? How is that different from sex?
Well, because the way I look at it is like, if you're struggling financially and your body is in fight or flight all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because you're wondering how you're gonna put food on the table, you're wondering how you're gonna have security and safety for your family. And a lot of the time, when your mind is going through those things, you can't relax, you can't breathe, you can't enjoy the things around you, and you don't have time to spend time with your family and friends. So I feel like when you have the money to provide those things for yourself and for your family, it leads to you being able to relax and breathe and enjoy being with your friends, enjoy being with your family, enjoy having.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of thinking like sexual intimacy is different from sex, right? This is a relationship. This is like a feeling of belonging with someone else. And I think that it's hard to say that you can buy that, but maybe you can buy the things to improve those kinds of relationships that you already have. But I don't think you can buy them if you don't already have them, right? Can you? Friendship, you can buy a lot of people who will call themselves your friends, but can you buy true friendship?
As long as they fake it and I believe it.
I think we're starting to get into some things that are harder to buy though, right? Maybe you can buy the conditions to improve them. So if I have friends, if I have lots of free time, I have more time to spend with my friends. I think that's what you're getting at.
Well, no, the way I was bringing it up is that money can help provide the last two. And once ability to actually focus and give energy to the other things on top.
It's like a base, like if you have this and you can go off of that.
Okay, good. So we kind of agree that these three are hard to buy. But having the time, being freed up from having to worry about these, gives you the ability to work on the things that it takes to make these things. What do y'all think of that?
I think you could buy a family.
I think you could buy a family, you could buy an egg donor, or if you're a woman, you could buy
I
a
think the
sperm
only,
donor.
like, tiers in this little triangle that money can't really buy are like the top two tiers.
So self-esteem, confidence, achievement. Well, you can buy
Well,
achievement,
money, yeah, money
Yeah.
can
right? You just keep trying until you succeed.
throw money at the problem, it'll go away.
Yeah, respect of others. What do you mean by respect, right? Like, some of these become loaded questions.
They look up to you, I guess.
Some people might respect you in a
Like,
certain kind of way,
Hold you in
right?
high regard.
Like Elon Musk, do people respect him?
If you like crypto, I guess.
I mean, tons of people respect him, probably as much as people that don't respect him.
Yeah, but even the people that respect him, what do they respect about him? I think they view him as successful.
His ingenuity,
But does anybody think, what a lovely man? Right, like, so in what way do they respect you?
I don't know, he's a good example of someone who has the respect of like everyone.
Jesus.
Mr. Rogers?
I don't think I've ever met someone who didn't love Mr. Rogers.
Carol Baskin?
No, that, yeah, well, she killed
No. Bad. We all saw the Tiger King during the pandemic, right?
Have you seen the new monkey one?
No.
Just as crazy, it's pretty
Just
good.
as crazy, it's really bad.
And then morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts. That's,
You can buy your way into situations that would help you develop those abilities, but you can't buy that outright by itself.
yeah, so maybe you wanted to know whether it was direct or indirect. Maybe it's kind of both, right? Maybe directly you can buy some of these lower tier things that make your life better. And then if you really want to achieve, maybe you can, it helps you indirectly. But no longer can directly purchase this. That's kind of what you're saying, right? Anybody think, no, that's just wild and crazy? So maybe we solved it, right? We solved it in the first, first.
I don't think it's crazy, but the part where it says problem solving and acceptance of facts, I feel like you can buy therapy to help you with that. But other than that, I believe everything else is.
Yeah, or you can hire people to do those things for you, right?
Take
So, like-
this class with problem solving.
It used to be really common in like the Renaissance for people to like wealthy people to sponsor an artist, right? Well, the Medicis have no talent of their own, but hey, look at all the creativity that they generated with their money.
They hired artists, they hired, I think that family in particular hired, orchestrators, people who were, like, orchestras, composers. I mean, if you were a rich family during that time, that's why I think that the Mona Lisa was created, some of our best artworks were created because the rich paid artists to do the work.
Yeah.
They also hired, like, advisors, so you could say they also hired, like, problem solving people.
But if you hire someone to do it for you, are you happy thereby?
Yeah, because I don't have to deal with the problem anymore.
No headaches.
What if you don't like the outcome?
Then I fire the advisor and I get a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like creativity is more of, for its own sake, it's something of value for its own sake, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't remember the names of the people who sponsored the greatest art of all time. I just remember the name of the artist, right? Although, like, if you read some of their biographies, they were profoundly unhappy people. Michelangelo was not a happy man.
He was a tortured soul.
Tortured soul, but he had creativity in balance, right?
Van Gogh. That man was very creative, but had a lot of problems.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
So, maybe, is this a complete picture of, like, I want to say that some of these people have, Nietzsche. Some of these people seem like they're at the self-actualization tier, but they're not happy.
I guess in order to be happy, it's like a balance of the entire thing. You can have some tiers, but it's going to be a weird looking triangle if it's like the big one on the bottom, and the second one, but you're like missing the third and fourth one, and then all of a sudden you just have a top.
Sure.
I saw it in person.
I mean, I would say that those people lived in a time where, like, they weren't living in the present, and I feel like that has, like, I bet Michelangelo fucking hated his life, but also they didn't have modern medicine. I mean, I think it's a sort of, that people are, I would say, are the happiest they've ever been in our history, because millions of people are dying from the common cold.
But do we have tortured artists today?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, what about Kurt Cobain?
Yeah.
He wasn't lacking in anything. He had all of this, and maybe right here, Rick was his guess, right? And then, but he had this and this.
But did he have self-esteem? Was it?
Well, he certainly had achievement, right?
It was a drug addiction, yes. That caused him to kind of go down his downward spiral.
Right, and you can't have self-esteem, can you, if you're gonna have a drug addiction? Maybe you can.
Don't try.
Well, I think when you get a certain amount of money, it's kind of like, what am I gonna spend it on?
Right.
Okay, I got a house, I got nice, like, and then it seems like you have all this free time, and the temptation is, okay, well, I can buy cocaine too.
Well, you can do the Mr. Beast route, just start like donating like money to charities, like put it to good use, do it like, I hate, using an example, you do a Trump day, you get into politics if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of wealthy people are very philanthropic.
That's what I wanted to say, just about that. I do think that if you don't have like a sense of belonging, then it's gonna be hard to reach that level of happiness. And I feel like that's what happens a lot of the time when people have like so much money. And a lot of the time, like, if you have all this money, you have all these yes men around you, you have all these people that, like, you don't really know. You don't even really know what, like, good love. You don't even really know what people love. Like, I think of the guy from Queen, and how he was separated from everybody that cared about him, and ended up with this one person who took advantage of him. And that led to his downfall. So I do think, like, there's a limit. There's a limit to how much money you could have to have that sense of belonging, and have that sense of family, to still be happy.
Yeah, once you acquire so much, it seems like now you've got to be suspicious of every new person in your life, right?
Right.
Even family, like,
Oh, yeah, just because they're family doesn't mean they're nice.
ask, who's that rapper? I don't know, Eminem, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking Britney Spears. But I know she's not a rapper. Just thinking like.
Definitely ready. Yeah.
I feel like your life experiences, or like as you get older, the definition of happiness will change. Like what I was happy about as a kid, definitely, I don't feel happy about it as a now,
Yeah.
You're kidding.
So happiness might be a very intangible kind of term. Right. Although I can honestly say, when I was very young, nothing made me happier than chocolate milkshakes. And now that I live in my life today, I still think that really makes me happy. Right?
You know, is it the memory of when you were happy that, like, brings that back? Or
No, it's the chocolate milkshake. It wasn't even a particularly happy time in my life because I was severely underweight. So the doctor told my mom, he said, you've got, he basically threatened her. He said, we're gonna say that this, teenager, because I was like 13, is failure to thrive if you, and we're gonna have to report you if you don't. He said, so give him a chocolate milkshake every single day. I was real thin. Like you could see every bone in me.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't a particularly happy time in my life, but milkshakes made it better.
Milkshakes can go out to me.
It's propaganda, the chocolate industry.
All bought up by Shake Shack.
I think if I was ever gonna open up a business, it would be an ice cream shop. Because everybody who goes to drop money at the ice cream shop has a big smile on their face, right? You don't see that at the tire shop.
Ugh, there's a reason why.
People love to spend money on ice cream. Oh, I got a pull up our issue.
Our issues.
There we go.
What about, the willing to do, like, what are you willing to do to get all this money?
Yeah, what are you willing to do?
At what point, like, I feel like a lot of people here is willing to do something bad in order to get some money.
Well,
They're like, because everyone has a price. Like, if you told me to kill someone for $1 million, I think I'd do it.
I don't think I'd kill someone. I would definitely swindle a billionaire though.
Aww.
Well, like, that's low on the evil list, man, like, go higher.
Well, I think it depends on the person, because like morality is much like, dependent on the person, you know?
Yeah, what if they deserve to die? And you earn that $1 million?
Does anyone really deserve to? No, because there's
Because you
people.
could say like, well, leaders really bad things, you know?
What are you willing to do for money? You ever see these celebrities and they become famous overnight? And they have like a normal life? And then they give up that life, like they'll divorce their wife, walk away from their kids. Cause why? Well, it's my branding, right? Like, I need to be seen dating Jennifer Aniston, not my husband's wife. So, like, for branding purposes, cause you gotta build your brand to get more money, right, in Hollywood. And they never seem happy to me.
They just left everything that was making them happy. It's like you might as well just took chunks out of the little triangle there and just left.
But they already have a certain amount of fame, right? So like, why isn't it enough? Like, why can't you say, you know what? Yeah, I could make a whole bunch more money, but I'm set for life. It's enough, and I'm happy with where I'm at.
I think it sort of piggybacks off what she said, because I was gonna say the exact same thing she said earlier about, okay, have a certain amount of money, it provides you comfort, and when you have comfort, it allows you to have happiness. And I feel like there's a point where there's like a tipping point where you have too much money, where you have so much money that now it can lead you down a path where, like what we're talking about, where these people who are very unhappy have all this money. It's like there's a certain point where you're comfortable, you're okay, and you don't need more. It may not mean that you're like insanely rich or anything like that, but you're comfortable. You don't have undue stress, you're fine
So why not stop at that point?
because of greed.
They have contentment. They can have happiness and they can have everything. If they lack contentment with where they are in life and they are actively trying to
gain more money, gain more whatever. It's just because they lack consistency and it's like, oh, everything is money.
See, I feel like if I suddenly came into $3 million, I would just quit. Because $3 million, you put it, let's say you invested at 5% interest. Let's see here, I'm gonna have to do the calculator. Because my math, my in-your-head math isn't that good. So 3 million times 0.05, and that's not a lot, right? 5% interest is not a lot, I'm pretty sure I can do that. So $150,000, I can live on that. I can live a pretty nice life on that. So just give me 3 million, not you, but the universe should just give me $3 million, and I feel like I just call it quits. I don't need anymore. Right? But we know people don't do that. When they get that amount where they can live off the interest forever, they keep going.
I feel like they get so excited and overwhelmed with so much money that they're like, oh, what's next? Let's just do more. And then they go down and down to the point where they're like, okay, I have enough. Now let's spend it on like some dumb stuff and then see what happens, you know?
There's also people like musicians and actors who genuinely love what they do. Like actors love to act and they love theater and they love performing, and musicians like making music makes a lot of people like really happy, and just being around music makes them happy. So there are people who do it because they love it, but there's musicians who quit once they sing. I think it was REM, the band REM. They stopped making music when they got really popular because they were only making music because they liked to, and they didn't want to be this mainstream popular band.
I mean, I'd still teach a class here and there, but I wouldn't do it for money, right?
Summer
Just
semester.
because you like to.
Yeah. It gives you something to do, right? And a sense of fulfillment. It's filling the other needs in the hierarchy rather than just working for money. So I could see like a musician still making music, but then you don't care, like, okay, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. I made it for me.
Yeah, no, from my viewpoint, it just feels like, I would disagree with the money buys happiness, but I would agree with the fact that money buys comfort.
Which makes you happy.
So what do you think happiness is then?
Happiness is, I mean, it's definitely not like all the way up there with the self, like, I feel like you go to the top of that pyramid that we're talking about, and I feel like, I mean, sometimes that you aren't, you know, like, are you really gonna be happy with self-actualization? And I feel like that's a lot easier said than done in being like, I'm gonna get to the top of this pyramid.
It feels very much like, anybody read John Stuart Mill's account of happiness?
Wait, what was his name? John Stuart Mill?
John Stuart Mill. And we kind of go over his, in my intro class, we go over his account of happiness, because he doesn't like the idea that pleasure is what makes you happy, because you can have a lot of fun, but be miserable, right? So he comes up with this idea of intellectual pleasures. And it kind of feels like that's what someone who's just kind of arbitrarily, and what I always say is it's arbitrary. Like, why are intellectual pleasure, oh, like chess, I've become such a great chess player. Why would that make someone happy, right? Like, it feels a little bit like they've kind of taken John Stuart Mill's account of happiness and just arbitrarily put it on top of the pyramid. Whereas I can think of a lot of people that I think are self-actualized, but they're not happy. It feels like, so one of this acceptance of facts, right? It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. The more you learn, there's a burden to knowledge.
Excellent.
Right? Like, you've heard happiness is bliss, or ignorance is bliss. Not happiness. Ignorance is bliss, right? And it's kind of true. You have a lot less, the world can be a pretty macabre kind of place. So you can be fully accepting of facts, but it's reality kind of sucks sometimes. I think our problem self-actualized person, man.
Why was he unhappy?
He just was.
And maybe that's something wrong with just, not like who he is, but more mental health of like, actual like health of the brain. You know, there's a big genetic part to like addiction.
There is like the concept of like knowledge being a burden, and when you know so much and you're exposed to so much, it kind of affects who you are like mentally.
Is there a sense in which maybe happiness is just a physical condition of the body? Is your brain working the way it's supposed to? Then you'll be happy.
Like release enough dopamine, is that what you're talking about? Like,
Yeah, is your brain producing enough dopamine and epinephrine and whatever it is that your body is living on?
cause like, I guess
Thyroid.
addictions like alcohol and like those kind of substances provide a short-term dopamine hit where they make you feel happy. That dopamine doesn't last and quickly goes away. So you have to go more and more into the addiction to get more and more dopamine.
Yeah.
This is what I wrote to the response, right? Can money buy happiness? Absolutely not. You see, there is no doubt and nothing wrong to be financially secure. You see, what money does, it buys you a sense of relief. That might seem like a form of happiness. It's an emotional sensation of, how you say, accommodations that only enhances the quality of someone's life in every parameter. Money can improve your health, buy you a nice car, a big white, a Yorkie in the front yard, and all of that. True happiness lies in authenticity and simplicity within our hearts. It could buy you a sense of a form of happiness, but at the end of the day, it goes to the primary example. I'll put that in the reply. You can have all the money in the world, which is good to have. But if you're not happy with who you are in the interior as a person, it remains a servitude. Because we know with much knowledge comes great grief. Because you should be able, but not everyone has the discernment to be. Like if you gotta question someone, stay away. You know, true happiness is what makes you smile, to stay childlike. Of course, there's levels of responsibility. The older we get, what makes you happy? Milkshakes. What makes you happy? Ice cream parlor. If you remain a child, like in a sense, go bowling, go whatever and be. It's good to have the accolades. It's good to have the Tesla. But if that is what is, to me, in my opinion, it's not the true definition of happy. It's good to have those things. It will improve those materialistic things. And it's about, at the end of the day, to be who you are and to be able to accept who you are. That's going to make you happy in order for it to enhance everyone collectively. Money is good, definitely. That's where a lot of us are going to school, to not be in a warehouse, like, you love teaching, right? That's a form of your happiness. You got your master's, you work for that, and the older we get, some people get bitter because they lose that childlike. They lose their gifts. They let that 9 to 5 slave system get to them. You could work at McDonald's and still be happy. And then again, it's lies within. That's it. It's money could enhance, though, as I was saying, the quality of your life, which is what we're here for initially, right? I don't know. That's what I think.
I see your hand and then,
I think it definitely does have to do with how you view life and relationship. Because religious people, people in convents or nuns, they don't usually have money. They live solely off of the basis of
I love God, God loves me, and that's all I need to be happy. And, there's people from like different, cultural, like punks go directly against the system of having and like they don't need it, and they are happy with that, they're content with that. So I think it also has to do with who you are as a person.
And how, yeah, and how you kind of view the things you have and the things you don't have.
I think money does provide happiness, and I think it also provides a lot of comfort. So like not having to stress about, am I gonna be able to eat tomorrow, or am I be able to like afford that like this month? You know, that all goes away when you have money, and that provides it. Definitely, like, I feel like that definitely boosts your happiness. And then not only that, I think, like on there, people can use some money, like being able to like, I want to be able to like retire my parents so they don't have to work anymore. And I think that like would provide me happiness, or like get my brother like his dreams on, you know, and like provide for my kids for generations to like their kids don't have to worry about it, you know. So I think it does provide a lot of happiness and comfort.
Yeah, and I think that's the first comment that really kind of touched on the use of money, like what do you use it for, right?
Yeah.
Buy anything.
Yeah.
Well, not anything.
My mom's on her PhD, and one of her goals for us is, like he's saying, it's a lot of, making sure that me and my siblings are completely secure in the future and don't have to worry like they do. I personally, because I'm used to the way we live now, I'm not as bothered by not having as much money. But I also know that more money means I can much easier pay for like my schooling, my stuff, for things that I need in the future. Maybe if I have kids, what do they need? I don't know, I don't have kids. But if I do, it could pay for housing, it could pay for a million different things for us.
The good thing about kids is they will tell you exactly what they need.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I feel like a lot of the things that people bring up about money are like, that's like it's like once you get it, then you got a sense of peace, that's the money. So the money is buying you a sense of peace, right? Still not buying you happiness. I've met a lot of torturers that were happy, just content with doing how they were living in life. Even animals in the wild, you see them happy, they don't have money. So does that money buy them happiness, or is it a sense of feeling that brings happiness?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a feeling, right?
Right.
I saw a hand.
These two.
Okay, whose hand was raised first? Yours was raised first?
Yeah, he was.
All right, you got the floor.
I mean, the entire beginning story of like the Buddha was that he was like someone who was rich, and he was this rich prince, and he was unhappy, and then he sort of left it all behind and discovered enlightenment by like letting go of all of his desires, all of his riches and all of that, to become somebody who is like fully enlightened. But does that mean his sort of enlightenment has happiness in it? Does happiness come from enlightenment, or is that just enlightenment? It's just nothing.
Yeah, so his is an interesting story. Was the Buddha happy? I don't know, right? But we do know, as the prince, he was unhappy. He was also unhappy as the pauper, right? As the person who was eating one grain of rice a day. He almost died, right, from privation. And he discovered that didn't make him very happy either. So he kind of sets on this middle path. And he believes that led him to enlightenment. But is that happiness? It's the absence of unhappiness, I guess. Is the absence of unhappiness happiness?
It's a good one.
That's deep.
I know.
Because Buddhism, Are any of you familiar with Buddhism?
Sort of.
No, I'm not at all.
So each of our world religions has kind of a central problem. For Christianity, it's sin. For Buddhism, it's suffering, right? They want to eliminate suffering. And my question is always, is that happiness?
No.
If you can eliminate suffering, is that just what happiness is? It feels like something missing.
I mean, I can work on something and I'll feel happy after, but like, if I had to stay up all night to do it, or I had to suffer through it to actually get this thing done, and then I'm happy about it afterwards, like,
Then what?
I suffered through something to be happy, and that's what you're doing every day with money, is you're suffering through a job that maybe you don't like, or even if you like it, it's still work, it's still a job.
Yeah.
And you have to suffer through that job to get to the point where you are getting money so that you have the ability to live.
It's only suffering, though, Buddha would say, if you allow it to be suffering.
So it's like our mindset?
Very much.
There were happy slaves, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we were.
I mean, that
It's just an
that feels a little bit, it feels like a cop-out a little bit to say, well, it's all, suffering's all in your head, because it
Right.
minimizes the role, like, does it give us an out for when we cause suffering to other people? Well, it's only suffering if they interpret it that way.
That they allow it to do to
Or should we still take accountability for doing really nasty things?
I grew up somewhat with Buddhism because my parents took classes because they had some issues they needed to work out, and the meditation classes at the temple were an easy way to fix that, to help them. And so, a lot of it, I think, is based on personal interpretation of what that lack of suffering for you actually means. It can be something as simple as helping other people and usually a good time, helping them, or even helping yourself and seeing yourself through a challenging time. It really just depends on the person and what they actively need from the process, and that goes through all of the different things. What do you need from it, and what do you need more from it?
So happiness is subjective in a sense.
Yeah, because what's gonna be happiness for me isn't gonna be happiness for several people in this room alone. Like,
Yeah.
I like to play video games, not everybody likes to play video games.
Have you ever seen someone who seems really happy that you look at their life and you're like, if I had their life, I'd want to do over, right? But they're happy, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like it's mainly more of a physical thing, right? Like, kind of like a draw. What is your mental, what is your chemical condition of your brain, right? Yeah.
So for me, I have divided into two questions. One was, what is, like, how do you get money? And the other one was like, what is happiness? So there's two different questions you have to ask yourself. How do you get, first one is how do you get money? Well, your job slash career, loans, inheritance, and then you have being rich, and there's a difference between wealth. And then you have like state health. And if you look at each one, the common denominator they all have is time. So you can't buy time. That's something that's, as we get older, that's what we get kind of like, we analyze our lives and we see if we live a very productive life in that aspect. So in that perspective, like in every category, like what I've learned is that when I was younger, is that what the acronym for job means. So if anything know what it means just out of broke. So you're just living within your means. So it's something temporarily like thing, but there's also career, which is something that you work very hard for, and that's something that you know that you'll be passionate when the kind of thing is, you'll do something that you love for as many hours as you want to do, because you're not doing everything exhausted. But then there's people actually, their job becomes their career. So there's that aspect as well. So it also, that comes with like happiness, which is enjoyment in that perspective. And then you have like loans that you have to pay back, and that also comes to. And then there's inheritance. And the example that I was thinking about is like Prince William and his brother. When Princess Diana died, they got an inheritance. So they already had that money. But that time that they lost with their mom, they're not gonna get back in that perspective. And also something that came back to mind was the 9/11 event. So I don't know if anybody watched this, but her name is Christian Singer, for the girlfriend, which is famous case. Well, her father was actually a firefighter in 9/11. He actually died in 9/11. So it seems that they're going, like we talk about marriage, and one thing that she talks about, what we talk about is her walking down the aisle. Like every little girl, her dream is for her dad to actually walk her down the aisle. Right? So she's not gonna have that. So that's money that time can't be buy. So in that aspect, you can't buy time. And then there's state help. And if you have a disability, then, for example, then you need finances, and then you need assistance regarding all that. So then you're buying somebody's time, and that's if the state provides you that help. And then you have people that are part of your family, but you never will know they're there to actually help you, or they're just there for, just to be there. So that's sometimes that actually happens. And then, then here comes the second question, which is happiness. What defines happiness? And I actually had to Google it, and because it says it's a state of well-being and contrast, and it says it's optimism, it's a feeling, thinking, being, and it's a state of mind. So all that, how are you gonna like buy emotion? You're practically buying emotion. In that perspective, you can't buy it. So.
You can buy it.
It's crazy. Oh, go ahead.
I do agree that you can't buy from that of this loss. You can't buy anything that's gonna save you from having loss. But if you have a lot of money, your day looks a lot different than people who have nothing. Because you're able to buy services that you yourself would spend all that time on. So, like, somebody who has $1 billion, their 24 hours is gonna look vastly different than our 24 hours. Because they'll be able to buy things that makes it to where they could probably accomplish what it takes to eat for a day. So I feel like money can change your concept of time, at least in saving time in the past. But I do believe that it can't save you from loss. You can't buy what you lost. You can't. And in that remark, I actually do agree with you. And for me, that's when money becomes like an accessory. Because, like, for example, Elon Musk, he says that he has people who actually do things for him. And so he can actually concentrate on the actual things. And he's actually talked about how he devises home and work, and that's perspective as well. So this could actually affect the next generation.
Any other hands?
It's crazy, right? When I was on the bus, I was thinking about, I wrote a little thing called time, right? It was a thought, and it's small. I think I should share it. It's called There Is No Time. The key is to learn how to live out of time within Earth's time. You see, time was created when sin took over Earth. Once the apple was bitten, time became man's expiration date, which equals death and also equals life. God Almighty lives in time and out of time. God is past, future, present, which is particles principles of time. Death equals life. When it's a cycle that repeats, when something dies, something is born. Our soul is eternal. The body is a metamorphosis of time in which we have morning, evening, night. It's like a butterfly. You have a larva, cocoon, then it turns into a butterfly. Mind, body, and soul. It's a Trinitarian correlation, just like you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's a universal connection of the power of three, which is equivalent to one in all parameters. It was a thought that just urged. And I was like, she was talking about time, and it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, so there's two different things, right? One is free time.
Yeah.
You have a certain number of hours in a day. We all have 24 hours, right? We have the exact same amount of time. But some people have more leisure time than others, right? And that's just you can quantify it. You know, you have 8 hours of leisure time and you have 30 minutes, right? But there's another way of looking at time, and that is our perception of it, right? And I notice that there's people who live in the past.
Ooh. Thank God I was
Right,
ready.
they live in the past. Then there's people who live in the future. It seems like neither of those people are happy.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the people that are happy are living in the moment, right? They're appreciating the things in their life. We have expressions like stop and smell. That, hey, this is nice. Oh, what a pretty day. Oh, looky here. There's roses are out. Oh, that feels so good, right?
Hey.
If you're living in the moment, unless the moment's really sucking, right? It feels like the people who live in the moment tend to be just happier.
Ooh.
But I don't know if there's psychological, it's just kind of what I've noticed. Probably there's statistical evidence about that. Sam, you have a...
Yeah, it reminded me of one of my counselors that shared, remember this, Samuel, we don't have bad days, we just have bad moments. She said, don't let your whole day dictate and ruin your whole moment. Shake it up, rehuddle, and get back on it and carpe diem. And go eat some fries with some ketchup, with some pickles, it'll make you happy.
Yeah, I feel like my husband lives in the past.
Yeah,
Right?
be like that.
He'll say, oh, my whole day got ruined. How could your whole day get ruined? Right? You just,
Right.
okay, yeah, you had a bad morning, but who knows what the afternoon's gonna be like. But then I feel like I live in the future. Because I'm always...
Optimistic?
Not necessarily optimistic, right? There's a lot of anxiety because you're trying to prevent bad things from
Right.
happening, right? So I'd like to be the kind of person who just enjoys the moment.
And also, don't let some other, misery loves, you heard that misery loves company, right? But it's not just, misery doesn't like just any company. Misery wants happiness. So those people that are miserable, they see, like if they see you, right, roses are red, violets are blue, let the professor just swing and come through and teach this philosophy class as we slide through, right? And then here comes a miserable person, mad at the whole world, mad because he's stuck in a 9-to-5, and here comes professor, happy. He's going on it, well, he's happy. I'm going to try to ruin this whole day. What I do, you have to learn how to read the tone, the body, and the language, and don't even try to engage on people like that. I look at it like I'm playing ball, like whatever you like. I'm not gonna let your demonic frequency swing onto me. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stay tunnel vision, like.
I'll try to keep the demonic frequency to it.
Oh, my mama, it works. I'll be like, okay, I see your wickedness, and you also gotta look at the world how they move. They'd be like, beep, beep, like damn near about to run you over, right? At the traffic stop, I'm like, man, I better be on my 10 toes. But eat cinnamon toast, but hey, that works for me. Like, you know what? I gotta learn. We also, I'm not gonna let your thermostat, whatever, because you're better and you're mad and you're dwelling on the past. Resentment, people that live in the past either been abused. We all got some type of abuse that we deal with, it's life, but it's the way that we get to heal from that. Because if you around misery, like if you around that type of people, I want to be around people that's gonna edify my soul. Like I don't want to be around leeches and Draculas. I'm good. Like nah, that's what I think.
I feel like I don't think he's had a particularly traumatic life. I think my husband just has the chemical makeup where he thinks about things, right?
Okay.
So he thinks about things that have happened, and he's analyzing them, but that's living in the past, right?
Still, yeah.
And so he's never been diagnosed, but like I feel like he has obsessive compulsive sort of. So he gets fixated on analyzing things.
So
Whereas me, I have anxiety, right? So,
right.
So I'm always trying to prevent things from happening in the future. And I think that's just, it's the chemical makeup of your brain, isn't it?
I'm not a psychologist or nothing like that, but it might be something from his childhood that he needs to heal from. Usually, or he has to try more. I don't know if you guys do outdoor. He has to probably go back to his old neighborhood and heal from inside. That's helping. Sometimes it's necessary to look back so we don't fall backwards, we fall forward. So there is something probably like a trauma, I don't know, whatever, that's not letting them it's blinding him some type of way. I don't know, it's just an observation. Could be that wherever he was raised, he needs to revisit, or he needs to do or outdoor activities that help him relive that, whatever is that artery in his heart, which is the mind. Could be, I don't know.
I'm gonna tell him to keep his demonic.
It be like that. Hey, but you know what? And go out together, go do documentaries, archery shooting. Like go jump off a plane, it'll work. If you're scared to jump off, go to bungee jumping at Six Flags. It's pretty fun and scary at the same time, but it's super fun. Try different things.
I'm not trying to bring you down.
It's hella spooky, but hey, it's fun.
I went during Fright Fest, just
yeah?
the other week. That was the scariest thing I saw.
It's scary, but I'm with it.
We went to Seattle, we saw two people. We went to Seattle and go up in the Space Needle. And
I've been there.
Up there, and it's like, they have this glass thing you can kind of walk out on, and that, I was like, whoa.
How you like Linwood?
Linwood?
Did you pass the Linwood, Washington?
I don't remember Linwood.
Yeah.
But just being up that high and having the glass, walking on the glass, like, I felt dizzy.
Oh man, you was like, oh my gosh.
Solid ground.
You was spooked.
Yeah.
During my we were actually in the Capitol banking building in LA. We were on I think it was the 72nd floor of
Man.
the building up where they have what's called the sky slide. It's a slide made entirely of glass.
Man.
I did not do it. I was a coward that day. But it's like, and they gave us like tickets for free, so we were able to like go down the front. It's like, oh yeah, you're prom now. Congratulations, you can go down this spooky ass slide. I think there was a young lady who was wearing like a ball gown. She went down and did it. They had to like stuff her dress.
Oh my God. Super.
Well, any other comments on these issues? We still have 15 minutes.
Bowling Saturday, probably. Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
Bowling Saturday.
For me, I was thinking about going bowling. You ever seen the movie The Flintstones where he goes bowling with Barney?
No.
Nah? What? Oh, yeah, he was like, huh?
Talk about the live action one? where-
Yeah.
Brandon Fraser.
No, it's not Brandon Fraser.
Goodman? Was it the guy from like Roseanne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's funny on every side.
Or something like that? Yeah.
The guy for Bruce.
I like him.
He's funny.
John Goodman.
That's weird.
Boom, bro.
So relative to change, I don't remember what the exact question was,
Relative.
but humans tend to not handle change well, right? So maybe it's a matter of finding a good routine.
Right.
Money can certainly contribute to that, right? They say the most stressful things in life, even sometimes good things, can be really stressful. Like you buy a new house, right? Well, hey, that's a good thing. But it's also a big change, right? And
Right.
A lot of
I think it's fun. I think it's like, don't be afraid to try it. Be reasonable, use your discernment. Like, you know what, I'm just gonna dive in it. Like, you know, like, well, I'm just like, oh, I'll swim through later on like Nemo. I'll deal with it. So what? I mean,
thing.
but you gotta take smart choices though, like, you know?
but it's the change, right?
Right.
That stresses people out. Because we do like routines, right?
For real.
Like, I like my small.
Yeah, being non-neurotypical especially, if my routine changes, I get over it pretty quick now as an adult. But as a kid especially, if any of the routines that were established got any form of change, even if it was like something we really couldn't control, I freaked out. I freaked out super bad. And I still occasionally have moments where I have freaked out over things changing and me not knowing what to do because it just completely stops my brain.
Yeah. It's definitely a disadvantage for people, you know, who are non-neurotypical, right? We live in a world of change and everyone is expected to sort of just manage it somehow.
No, nothing is ever going to be the same as when you last left it, ever. And the moment it is, the moment you change space.
There are some anxiety disorders that also really, it's not just people who are non-neurotypical, some anxiety disorders really struggle with change. It gets you out of that routine, right? Like, well, I've got a lot. Yeah, what was that movie with Jack Nicholson?
Shining.
No. Batman. He played like a schizophrenic.
Oh,
Oh.
And he had his routines,